Hi, Tracy. How's everything going?
There, I'm unmuted now, I think. Me?
Good to
Good,
see
good, good.
you. Good to see everybody. So we'll give it a couple minutes, let people file into the room, and then we'll get started because we got some great info to cover for you guys. Not we, our good friend Dawn. Gotta put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
I don't know, quite a few. Yeah, I'm trying to. No.
Hope everybody's having a good week so far. Susan. Hi, Susan.
Hey there.
How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
All right, one more minute. We'll get this party started. Right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and open things up. I appreciate all of you being here on a Tuesday night for our Tiny Talks. Welcome back for those that have been here before, and welcome to those that have not been here. We've been doing, last year we did a Tiny Talks. Oh gosh, we did from October to February, 4 nights a week. And at the end of that, we had a fantastic grand finale. And then we decided to do these monthly. So tonight I decided to have a business speaker to help you guys. You and your business, tiny house business, is primarily who I had in mind when I booked our speaker for this evening. Dawn has been with us, gosh, 3 or 4 times, I think. Right, Dawn?
Yes.
Everyone always enjoys her presentation. I get a lot out of it. In fact, she's the one that trained me on social media. So all those posts you see daily, we have to thank her for my Facebook, Instagram. If you don't follow us, feel free to find us on Instagram and Facebook. So with that, I'm going to turn it over. Oh, first I was going to say, we'll probably do, unless you have a burning, urgent, the building is on fire question, we'll try to hold those till the end. If it's something pertaining to what she's speaking about at that moment, and we think it's a good time to stop, you can either raise your hand and unmute yourself to ask the question, or you can put it in the chat and I will ask it on your behalf. I want to ask everyone to mute yourselves just in case there's any background noise. So with that, I think I got it covered. Also, oh, October Tiny Talks, I'm trying to get my inspectors to do a inspector chat, which we did in July. And everyone always has a great time at those. We get our questions answered, and the guys are always, more than willing to help us out with that. So that will be October 17th at 7 p.m. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Dawn, our speaker. She is a business speaker. She has her own business. She's a professor, just a jack of all trades, I call her. I've known Dawn, Robin and I, our CEO, have known Dawn at least 10 or 12 years.
Yeah.
And she is an expert in her field. So listen closely. Also, she's gonna make you an offer for a free audit we will give you that info at the end on how to receive that. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over. Anything I missed? Robin's not here to tell me if I missed anything. So thank you, Dawn, for being here with us. I know you have a busy schedule and we really appreciate your knowledge and expertise.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and open up. I want to make sure that you guys can see my screen. So give me just a moment. It doesn't look like it's connecting. That's fantastic. Love it. Isn't it wonderful when everything works? Not at all.
Yes. Did you find the share screen button? Oh, there you go.
Well, this is going to be, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm trying to go through, and I should have put in this stuff. I'm on a new system. So here's what I'm going to do. If I can, I'm going to thank you for your patience while we figure this out. I'm going to go ahead and put in I'm going to try and share this, Jordan, with you via the email, and then let's see if we can go ahead and get that updated and open. How's that work? Will that work for you guys?
Whatever you say.
Okay. So while you're waiting on me, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Dawn Jensen. I'm a social media speaker, coach, and trainer, and I've been working on social media for about, gosh, nearly since 2007. So what that looks like is working with business owners and entrepreneurs in social media management. What do you call it? Content creation. And what it does is it allows me to work with and learn about a business, your business, and how you work with clients, what types of information is really interesting to your clients, and what are their pain points. So when we look at a presentation like we're going to do today, what we're going to look at, and the lens I'd like you to see is generally where you need to be, how you need to be found online, and what it's going to take to ensure that your brand is claimed all the way through the process. So Jordan, I sent you a PDF of the presentation. The PDF, along with a kind of a one sheet for everybody, is available at the end. I'm going to go ahead and send it over to Leanne so she can share it out with you. Don't feel like you have to take notes on everything because the information will be on the slides as well. But I will say that if there's 3 things that you find that are actionable steps for you, please feel free to write them down. So Jordan, when you get the information, or if you get the recorded or the PDF over to you and you share your screen, let me know and we'll get started from there. Now, other than that, one of the things that I'd like to share with you is kind of the premise for today. The premise for today will be kind of what we want to do is deal with your presence, online presence, the path that you're going to take for social media and digital marketing, and the platforms that you're going to have. We're dealing with a couple of different things when it comes to digital marketing, and I say social media. Those are digital marketing channels, or social media channels, as part of digital marketing, and we're all looking at what we call an omni-channel or integrated marketing presence. If any of the things that I say don't make sense, please let me know in the body of the talk or in the chat below, because I want to make sure that you understand where we're coming from. So when we start out, we're going to start with 3 areas. We're going to start small, build deliberately, and be consistent. And what that looks like is to be able to see where we are right now, kind of an audit of what's happening with our social media presence, where we are with our website, and then what gaps in communication do we have on our digital presence that if we put in place would make a difference for our customers and our partners and our stakeholders. So it's not just the customers that we're looking for, we're also looking for those strategic partners, because as a business owner, you're a professional in field and an authority in field in what it is that you do. So you know how you're going to reach your customers best as far as where they reside online. All right, so I'm going to just check in with Jordan real quick. Jordan, were you able to get that email?
Jordan, you want to send it to me? He might have.
I
stepped
can do
away.
that. Yeah. I will forward it on. Sent. All right. So when we're looking at our online presence, we want to make sure that we claim our social media and digital marketing presence. And what I mean by that is for your business, if you think about your Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, these are all what we call digital channels. But your URL or your vanity URL, that facebook.com/your brand name, or linkedin.com/company, your brand name, those are all what we call vanity URLs. Now, when we look at your brand, if you're starting out, well, let me actually ask you if you would put it in the chat, how many of you are in the beginning of the business? So what I mean by that is you're in the first 1 to 2 years of the business, versus how many of you have been in business for 2 to 5 years? Yes. I think you're a newbie. Okay, 1 year, beginner here. Awesome. Allie, beginning in business. Carrie, fantastic. Dan's in his second year. Kim, you've been around for 5 years, so you're kind of like a matron in the area. That's fantastic. And those are good. If you're just getting started, Jason, that's fine too. That's actually a perfect place to be, because what happens is when we're able to just start building our online presence, we can make sure that we get that. So what I don't have in it, and I'll tell you right now, because since we're talking back and forth until the presentation is up, what I
have
can
it.
share with you is if you have, there's 2 sites. One's called Namechek, NAMECHK.com. And the other, let's see, Namechek and Knowem, KNOWEM.com. So Namechek and Knowem can actually share with you what is going to help provide a what we call a vanity URL. So thank you so much for waiting on my slides. We'll minimize them or make them a little bit smaller, and then we'll go ahead. And what I'll do, Leanne, is just have you go from one to the next, if that makes sense, because I don't know if I can grab that from you. Does that help?
Yeah,
Does that
you want
work
me to
for you?
go through you want me to go through it for you?
Yes. So
Fine.
welcome
Okay.
to Digital Marketing Blueprint for Tiny Home Builders. And we can go to the next slide.
Okay.
It's sort of like rolling with the punches. This is really great.
Yes. All right.
Perfect. So again, my name is Dawn Jensen. What Lan had mentioned, as far as I'm an adjunct professor, I work with business owners and digital marketers, and I've been doing this for a long time. So if you ever need to get a hold of me, you have my email address, you'll have the copy of the slides, and this deck will be for you because there's some information to it as well. So let's go ahead and get started. When I was mentioning Knowem and Namechek, I'm looking at the ability, especially if you're a new business, the ability to claim your presence. So building the business presence is really key. When you look at your business name and claiming your business name online, depending on the social media platform, you want to make sure that it's consistent. So that facebook.com/business name, or twitter.com, or I should say X now, or LinkedIn company name, or Instagram handle, all of those things need to have ideally the same name. So we want to make sure that it makes it easy for the customer to understand. So as an example, my Facebook business is facebook.com/virtual options, which is all one word. It could, if it is on Twitter, it's the same thing, Twitter or x.com/virtual options. The same thing, if I had an Instagram for virtual options, it would be the same way, but at least it's consistent across the board. That way, people don't have to think on how to name or find you. And the same goes for your, what I call your moniker. So sometimes when we have a business, we'll have a moniker that might be like the tiny home builder, or Southern Tiny Homes. We'll have a moniker that we can also hashtag, and we can use that within our social media presence as well. So presence, path, and platform. When we look at the path, we're looking at building deliberately. There are over 140 digital marketing and social media channels and platforms. I'm not here to tell you you need to be on all 140, because that wouldn't make sense, and you'd probably shoot me and call me crazy, which you would have every right to do. Here's what I would have, and I would suggest to you, is you take your top 3 to 5, and I have them listed. You take your top 3 to 5 that makes sense for you in the way that you do business, and you start there. If it's the only 1 or 2 that you start with, or 2 or 3 that you start with, you make sure that you have a full and complete profile and presence, and then we build out. When I say build out, we look at the content that we're building on the platform, and that's what's going to make a difference. Next. So when we look at building out online on the presence itself, we're looking at 4 or 5 different areas that I want you to look for. When your customers want to find you, they're looking through your social media, they're looking on search. And when I say search, I'm talking about specific, what we call directories. Directories, you would know directories as search engines. So that's Google, Yahoo, Bing. It could be Best of Web. There's a lot of directories that aren't necessarily Google or Yahoo, but they do provide, when you have a listing on them, more juice. They provide you with more recent information about your business and current information about your business. So having a social media presence, having a search engine listing presence on the business side is really important. And then we have what we call directories and listings, or listings and citations. Those are the things that the places like Yelp, you may be also a construction company. You may have, you might be on Angie's List or Angie. You may have a listing on Better Business Bureau, just because people want to find you, and not that you would pay to play on like Yellow Pages or YP.com or BBB.org, but at least you have a business listing. So again, your name, your business name comes up higher and ranks higher as people search for you. Other things that are very useful and helpful, Manta.com is a good site for business. These things are listings for your business, your name, address, phone number, email address, website, right? But it doesn't mean that you have to post to them. They're just the most recent information and best information for your business. And that's going to be really important. And I want to just pause here, and I want you to be mindful of a couple things about this. Where business owners run into trouble is they aren't consistent with how they list their business. And this is where attention to detail is going to be super important for you. Let me give you an example. So if I had a business that was at 123 King Street, then I have to decide, especially if it's like 123 King Street, Suite 102, I have to decide that it's either street spelled out, ST, or ST period, right? If it's suite spelled out, STE or STE period. Those things are important because if it's different in every listing, then what happens is Google thinks there's just another business because it's not exactly the same. So you could have duplicate listings, especially if you've been in business for 5 years. You might have changed from a home address to a PO box or a virtual office or a brick and mortar location. You need to be able to clean those listings up or audit to make sure that those listings can be cleaned up. And that way, whenever somebody searches for you, it goes to one area. It doesn't have a duplicate. The reason why duplicate listings are not great for a business is it dilutes your brand. So you might have, if you had everything, you might have a brand name for your business here, but your business also might be listed pages down, and it could be higher ranked if it was just one complete and full robust profile. Does that make sense? All right, so we're going to move to another place that customers want you, which is web. This is your website. We're going to talk a little bit about website and search engine optimization in a minute. I also, in the way that people actually, they actually find you, a lot of people will utilize their mobile device. So having a unified inbox or a way that they can text you is really important as well. Email marketing for those that are new in business, even if you're not sure about the content, there's a lot of great things that your customers can probably, that they're going to want to know. And that can inform your email marketing. Even if it's just a thank you for signing up. Take a look at our new, our floor plan. This is how we do design, and or this is our origin story. This is how we got started. This is why we're passionate. This is why we want to provide this debt-free freedom or the ability to have families together and travel around the country. Whatever that is for you, that essence that you want to share online, you can also share in email marketing. And then lastly, as part of that integrated marketing is reviews and recommendations. Those third-party testimonials are absolutely vital when you think about how you like to shop and how you like to look at things like Amazon reviews or Google Business reviews or Travelocity reviews. Those things are important, and that's how you make your buying decisions. Your clients and customers are going to do the same thing. Next. So what does that look like? And well, if you break it down a little bit, we're going to claim our, what I was mentioning before, your vanity URLs, making sure they're consistent across social media. We'll identify the social media that I think that might make more sense to you, even if you don't do it right now. Okay, so if some people may be a little bit shy and a little bit overwhelmed because it's a lot. You're drinking from a fire hose today. I understand. Just make sure, my suggestion to you is to make sure that you have 2 or 3 action steps. Okay. So we want to claim our listings on our profiles and make sure that they're fully built out and their attention to detail on the street and the email and even the phone number. So if you started out with your cell phone and you have a business phone, that's also important, right? If you had your Gmail address and now you have a business email, that's also important. Those things can really muck up your listings. Now, great ways to build content for those of you that have a website, that are building the website. Think about the FAQs, or frequently asked questions. There's a reason why I harp on this for business owners and builders, because number one, if you get in the mind of your customer, like, how do I finance a tiny home? How big is a tiny home? Can I get full size appliances? Can I help design? Do you have, what do you call it? Can I have more than 299 square feet? Does it have to be on a trailer? Can it be on a foundation? Like all of those things you can answer for your customer, that they already have those questions somewhere. You can find it online. You probably had it yourself. You probably have email questions that are coming to you. Start collecting those. And that's how you're going to build out your FAQs. Why do I say build those out? Because there's something on Google that when you search on Google for, let's say, tiny house cost, for example, part of the results is what we call SERP, search engine response page results. And they're called SERPs, which is a weird vernacular. But essentially what Google has done is they're searching through website content when they have their spiders crawl your website for all the information. And when you pose a question that's already being asked, they will pull that information up as information that they're displaying. So they're looking at your site for credible information, for linked information, and for these, if you're able to answer these questions that are frequently asked, then it also helps you in the ranking and prominence of the website. So when you have things like FAQs, when you are able to create blog posts or videos or walkthroughs, even if it's the difference between a, like you're talking about AC units, or you're talking about toilets, whether you have a standard toilet or whether you have like a head that's, I forget what they're called now, but a toilet that's similar to like
Composting.
thank you, composting. I was thinking the ones that are on board on sailboats and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Even doing those types of things, even sharing about information and container and storage information, those things are going to be helpful and useful because you have a more educated buyer and you're building trust all along the way, which is what you're looking for. I mentioned email marketing. I will mention specifically autoresponder campaigns. So if you do a constant contact, or you have MailChimp or GetResponse or something that you like, because it's got to work with the way that you think. You're going to resonate with some technology or some platforms better than others. It's just the way that you like to work. So when you have an autoresponder campaign is where somebody signs up, they get an email back thanking them for signing up, and then 2 or 3 days later they have another email, and then maybe 5 or 7 days later they have another email. And it's just a way to kind of drip market your information without being like very salesy, without having to say, hey, look at me, aren't I great, buy my crap. You are simply sharing out information to make them a better consumer. And then lastly, we talked about testimonials. So where do we have testimonials? We have testimonials on Facebook. We can get reviews, right? And recommendations. LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, I invite all of you as owners to update or actually get on LinkedIn and have one, because you can have a LinkedIn profile for yourself and you can have a company profile for the business. So when you have it for yourself, you can ask for recommendations. This tells me if I'm going to go to your site or I'm going to go to your LinkedIn profile, it may not be that we've done business together, but I know the type of professional you are because you might have been recommended in other ways that speaks to your honesty, your integrity, your hard work, your tenacity, all of that. Okay. The last thing, Google My Business or Google Business Page also has reviews and recommendations. You can grab that. You can grab that link and you can actually put it into your signature, email signature. So when you have your name and your title and your website and your phone number, also you want to actually add that as well. It makes it easy for someone to connect with you, find you, and review you. Okay, next. All right. Briefly, I will say that anybody needs help. One of the things that I'm offering is a 20-minute or 25-minute call. But one of the things for this, for Noah, because Noah's always been really just close to my heart. I can offer two things for you. And one is a website audit, which is it's like a 5 or 6 page report. If you have a website and a domain name, that's all I need to pull up and find where things are working and where there's opportunities for you to work on. That might be just things about the site on search engine optimization. It might be things that are connected to the site, like links or social media. And it gives you a grade, just like we did as a report card, and it will give you a line by line. So you don't even have to, you can take it and run with it, or you can work with your marketer, or you can work with me, like whatever works for you, but at least you'll have an opportunity to look at what's working, what's not working for you. The second thing is what I call local listings audit. So most times when we are focused or when we were looking at our how we're found, we want to make sure that our listings are updated. And if there's any, especially if you've been in business for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, if there's any listings that you haven't claimed or any listings that might have duplicate or misinformation, then you want to make sure that you know where they are so you can go and correct them. So that's usually, I would need your business name, your address and phone number and website. Okay, so just an FYI, this information will be on the back end of the site as well, or on the back end of this deck, but I just want to let you know so I don't forget. Okay. All right, so when we look at directories and listings, what am I looking at? We know for most of us that are online, we look at, we're going to be searching through our laptop or mostly for mobile. Just because you don't have if you don't have a brick and mortar location, or if you don't have a place that customers come to, you can still have a Google business profile, just to let you know. You don't have to have it listed, but if you notice that the more reviews and recommendations that you have, the better off it's going to be. And when you do have a Google business profile, hint, 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 it should be part of your social media. Every time you post to that, and it's different than Facebook because you're not engaging, you're more of just amplifying your content. Every time you post to that, it's a social signal that tells Google is, oh, they're not only legitimate, but they're active, and maybe we need to pay more attention to their information, which is exactly what you want. So just to keep that in mind. So what are the goals to our listing itself? Well, it helps us be everywhere. We want to make sure that we're accurate. We mentioned that before. The more that we post, we're going to be higher in the ranking with other people that might be in our same industry. Just like when we look at social signals to give us a high ranking, we also look at what we call social capital. So those things like the certifications that you have and memberships that you have, like the one in NOAA, gives you that cut above your competitors. So you're always looking for ways to separate yourself out, your brand and your business out from those that do what you do. When you are in places with your information accurate, you've got your membership accreditation affiliations, and you're showcasing that. Those are things that are, again, will help raise the currency, recency, prominence of your information. So the other things to keep in mind, some great starting places. I mentioned Google Business Profile, Yahoo Business Profile, Bing. Bing, believe it or not, within the past 6 to 8 months, more like 6 months, because of AI. Bing has really overtaken some of the oomph away from Google when it comes to searching. So it used to be kind of a throwaway, something interesting and good, but not necessarily something to focus on. Make sure your business profiles have your logo, any pictures, any video, even if it's if you go to canva.com and you create a video about the business, it's a video. It doesn't have to be, really high production value, but it's something that will help, and you can post that on these places. Yelp, now I mentioned Yelp and I mentioned Better Business Bureau here, and I will say I would claim the business and kind of, unless you have a pot of money that you're going to do marketing, I wouldn't necessarily invest it into those things, but they're going to ask you for kind of an upsell you. They're going to try and upsell you, just like yellowpages.com. Doesn't mean you need it. Just claim the free profile and move on. Okay. Unless you're doing something specific and it'll really help you, go. The other thing that I would recommend along with the Better Business Bureau is a DUNS listing. Now, I've not mentioned this in any of my social media or digital marketing talks before. And the reason I'm mentioning this now, especially for you new business owners, is if you're looking to do things like offer financing, or maybe you're looking for a capital investment to build out your DUNS listing, and having a DUNS listing, Dun Bradstreet listing, is going to be important, especially as you start building. If you haven't built your business credit, we're going on a tangent, but if you haven't built your business credit, this is something that businesses and institutions will look for. So I know this is outside of the digital marketing, but I'm finding for business owners, this is just as important. You can have a free DUNS listing. This will help you. And along with your business credibility of having a business address or virtual address, business phone number, not your cell phone number, your email that is not a Gmail or something else, it is your domain name email. Those are things that increase the business credibility and have you, again, separate yourself out from other people that may be doing something similar. Make sense? Okay. All right. Now we get to social media, which is my sweet spot, and I still have a love-hate relationship, more so now than 15 years ago. All right. When we look at our social media, again, start small, build deliberately, be consistent. I love this. So, and end of the story is, yes, you need to be on there. Yes, you need to be present. Yes, you need to post. If you're posting already on social media, what I don't want you to do is post and then 3 months down the line, you post again. If you're going to start, build up your social media content first and then post out. So if it's only once a week, then be consistent once a week, right? If it's twice a week, be consistent twice a week. Let the technology do the heavy lifting. I am not saying that you have to go to every social media platform and then post something. There's an app for that. Literally, so just so you know, things like Hootsuite or Buffer or Sprout Social. I don't want you to pay for Sprout Social, but Hootsuite offers a free version, and I believe Buffer does as well, at least free or trial version. And what it does is it connects your social media to one social media management platform, and then you can upload your social content, and then it'll time post it out. So while you're busy getting business and developing business and operating the business, it can work for you, because your job is not to post on social media. Your job is to engage. So we want to be able to utilize the technology a little bit better. Okay. What are our goals? So we do want relevant and timely information. When we do have, what you won't see on this particular presentation is I don't go into podcast and I don't go into video. They are really, really useful and good. They also allow you to you can break up bits of that information to post out on social media. It's a way that what we call repurposing content is very useful. But I want you to think in terms of how your customer sees you. Social media, podcast, video, these are all things that get into the heart of your customer very easily. There's no gatekeeper. They're going on to Facebook and they're searching and sorting through things. They're seeking out information, and that's why they're searching on Google or Yahoo. You don't have to convince them of how awesome your product is. All you have to do is be able to be found, have relevant information, and keep that cycle going. When I look at social media content, I call it a layer cake, but there's layers of information that you can create, or layers of social media visuals that you can create that has you share out who you are and your brand. So it may be something that we look at later on as far as social media, but when you think about your own business, your origin story, your bio, your background, the services, it could be like design services as well as storage building. It could be building just the shells versus building out the entire unit of a tiny home. It could be you're building and putting on foundation versus on a trailer. Like all of those things, when you think about the way that you want your customer to consume your information, you can look at the strata of things all about the business. I'm going to talk about all the branding, that where I am, how we got started, what our goal was. I can talk about all the testimonials. If I've been in business for a while, I probably have client testimonials. I can take those testimonials and slap them on a piece of content and wrap it in my branding and have that be a piece of social media content. I can take a look at the building process from the design. I'm taking pictures to the install, to the shells, to the walls, to the installation, to the plumbing. I can take pictures at each and every interval and be able to talk and speak to that and put that on content wrapped in my branding and parse it out on a social media management tool. And it tells people that I take pride in every step of the way, that I'm taking them behind the scenes so that they know that it's not just a pretty finished product. Like we go from soup to nuts here, right? So we go from concept to design. We go to design to blueprint. We can do from the first inspection to the final inspection and the seal. Those things you want to be able to share about. Those things are interesting to your clients. They may not be interesting to you, by the way. It may be just boring or things that you do every day, but for your clients, they're going to be fascinated. So when I look at digital embassies, and social media platforms, I'm talking about what I call digital embassies and outposts. And we talked about starting small, build deliberately, be consistent. And I'm kind of beating that over and over again so that it starts to click. But we audit our presence, we claim our name, we build our social media profile. We also look at the social platforms, the content, and then automate and publishing.
No, I can.
No, it's okay.
I just need to take things out of the.
Oh, alright. There's boxes. Yeah.
Andres, can you please mute yourself?
We can go to the next slide.
Thank you.
So on the next slide, what we're going to find is what that looks like on the digital embassies and outpost. So you'll see the stars The stars are going to be the ones that I think will be are the most important to you. Like I said, these aren't the only platforms, but Facebook or Meta, LinkedIn is important. Google My Business, I would absolutely have you, if nothing else, that is vital. You won't post necessarily, or I should say, you won't engage like you will on the others, but it allows you to ask questions, of post video, post content, and Instagram as well. Because you have a Gmail account, you'll have a Gmail account to open up Google My Business. From that Gmail account, you can also open YouTube. Okay, a YouTube channel. Even though you may not have videos right now, if you create, blog post, you can turn those into video. If you do any type of mobile, just kind of filming of the stages or of the design plans or of the team, those things that can be content for YouTube later on. So claim it so you can have your channel, and that way you have it. I put Pinterest up here because Pinterest after YouTube, so Google is a search engine by itself. YouTube is like the #2 search engine, believe it or not. That's why it's kind of important for you to have information. But Pinterest also drives a lot of traffic to your website. And so it's what we call an ancillary, I call it an ancillary social media, unless you're selling or you have like not crafts, but products. It's good to have, but it's not a primary, what I call a primary social media platform. If you notice that TikTok is on here, TikTok does really, really well for customers, or excuse me, for business owners. And it's quick, edible content. I have a warning sign here because if you have TikTok, it's owned by the CCP or China, which also means that part of the terms of service for them is that they have access and they can read all your other social media content and how you access it, what you look for. It's extremely invasive on the privacy end as far as what it's asking for. And although so I want you to know that there's a trade-off. It does really well for clients, but there's a trade-off. And if you do have military in your family, especially, I would not recommend it. It's you're vulnerable, and I just wouldn't recommend it. Snapchat, it's there, not awesome, but it's there. It's not one of my favorites, and I'm probably sharing a little too much, but it's not one of my favorites because I don't feel like it does a lot for business owners, but it's very useful. The reason why all of these are pointed, these are digital embassies or outposts. These are places that I have a presence that is my brand, that has also my email address, my phone number, my website, but the breadth, depth, and width of information, the core of the information always resides on your website, because there you get to say how it goes. Everything else, as you know, can be taken away. You're renting that space. You don't own that space. So if you get shut down by Instagram, if you get shadow banned on Facebook for something that was posted on your page and you didn't have anything to do with it, you don't have a guarantee that it can come back. Most times you're just banned for a little bit and it comes back, but I want you to know that you're just kind of renting that space. You're not, you don't own it like you would your own website. Okay. So we look at reviews and recommendations or testimonials. These things, these things are going to be very powerful for you. So we look at your Facebook, I had mentioned. Google Business is a review. 2 more down, Leanne. And then you want to make sure that these 4 and 5-star ratings they build trust. So even the difference between a 4 and 5-star can be a difference in a sale or not. There are other there are platforms that allow you to do a kind of a social media push, meaning that they'll actually send out an email or a link on a text to your customer. And if you get below a 4-star, then it'll go to you first before it goes and post on your social media or Yelp or Facebook page. So there is some mitigating technology that can happen. And I wouldn't necessarily invest in it right now, but as you get busier and as it gets more prominent, it's something that you might consider in the future. When we looked at your Google business profile, and I wanted mention to you that you want a full and complete profile, not only the hours of operation, your location, if you have a brick and mortar location, but it also will tell you kind of where the reviews that have happened and then other things that about the site. So anytime that you have photos or new content and information, it can be posted and it will be brought up here. So the goal here for any type of review, whether you have 1 or 50, is to look better than your competitors, period. And make sure your information is accurate. All right, so we look at visibility. So when we look at visibility, what we're looking at is just making sure that we have SEO. And SEO has on page and off page. And SEO stands for search engine optimization. That's all I want you to get from this slide. When you look at how you're ranked and your social media and the content that you create, we look at your keywords and what we call key phrases. So it can be tiny home, tiny house builder, tiny home builder, tiny house design, tiny home design. If you notice, they're all similar, and yet they can be ranked a little bit different depending on the Google what's being said or what's being asked. There is a site. It's called answerthepublic.com. So if you go to answerthepublic.com and you put in a 1 or 2 keyword phrase, you can see what people are asking. If you put in tiny home or tiny house, you can see all the questions that people are asking. Now, keep in mind, there's 2 versions. There's a UK and a US version. I think the default's UK. So just make sure that there's a US flag when you search. And I think you can do at least 2 searches a day. And then you can see what people are asking. And oh, by the way, you can utilize that to build out your blog post. So if you know that, if people are talking about tiny houses or tiny homes or tiny home builder, then you can find out what they're looking for, go ahead and be able to create a blog post and information around that and get that into your FAQs as well. So search engine optimization, we have on page and off page. On page search engine optimization just use
Dawn?
things like chat. You got content on the page, you've got content. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. You just disappeared for a second. You're back.
Oh, okay. You've got content on the page, you've got titles, you've got images. These things you can create for search engine optimization. And then you have off page, and off page is social media. It's your local listings. It's your blog post. It's how the blog posts are linked to other websites. So these things are also important to drive traffic to your website, and it all works on search engine optimization. when we look at how we focus on the content and we look at kind of an overall picture, that 30,000 foot view, we want to be able to meet clients where they are. So if our clients are on Facebook or Instagram, depending on their age and what they're used to, that's where we want to be. They search on Google. We know a Google business profile anyway is going to be important, but that's going to be more important when you consistently post to there. We want to build our strong presence, and we want to make sure that between social media and search engine optimization and content, that we've got something that we can provide on a consistent basis, whether that's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, bi-monthly consistency. So quickly, the way that we build content is typically we like to inform and engage and educate. So when we inform and educate our consumer, it makes them a better consumer and they're able to make smarter decisions. So if you have a difference between a basic package of how you build out your tiny home versus, you know, you're upgrading to the finishes are upgraded, the refrigerator, and then you have a washer and dryer unit that's upgraded. You can, when you educate your client on the differences, like your AC unit as an example, your split unit, you can see when you have a better consumer, they're a better buyer. Other ways that you can create content is by empowering or inspiring them. You'll see that through videos and quotes that are more aspirational, this sense of freedom that you have when you're mobile, the ability to have family unit together. Those are things that are necessary intangibles that speak to the heart of a client and not necessarily to the pocketbook, but you can still work it into your content. When you're an advocate for tiny house, tiny home living, perfect. You can also share your personality and you can entertain them as well. So when you think about content, you're kind of marrying a lot of these things together. I'm going to kind of skip over this. This is customer experience, but essentially what this means is when we are taking care of our customer, from the point at which they meet us online, or they text us, or they email us, or they engage with us on social media, to the point at which they either purchase or don't purchase. And then after the care, like we continue the conversation via email marketing, or after the sale, just checking in with them on a yearly basis or semi-annual basis. That whole umbrella is the customer experience. And that is what I call a long tail, because we keep engaging with them. They may not be a customer right now. It may be in 2 years when they're ready to make the move, but we've been kind of sprinkling the information and getting them as educated as possible, so they're primed and ready to be the customer, if that makes sense. Okay. So this all involves how the customer meets you where they want to reside. Make sure that if you're, just because you might be more comfortable in, let's say, text messaging, because Gen Z might be text messaging, versus baby boomers are definitely going to be phone call or an email address or a thank you card like written out. Understand the generation and generational gaps of your customer, because that's going to be important on the way that they want to be heard and seen and communicated with. All right, so we went over social media, we went over email marketing, we looked at the content on the website. Digital advertising is more on the paid side versus the organic side, along with anything that you're doing kind of manually, whether it's directories and listings on a page or digital. When we look at the partnerships that you have when you're at festivals, tiny home festivals, or events, This is where your public relations comes into play. This is where you have things that are around the story of the business and where you're going to be and what event you're going to do and how, the open houses that you may have. Those things are going to be important. That's part of PR, and it's also part of your social media. And then as you have and build the business, you're going to be your own best influencer online, but you also might have your brand ambassadors that will absolutely fall in love with the product, fall in love with the idea of the freedom that tiny homes provides. Those mom influencers, amazing. They can be really great momentum for a business. And then you utilize that as content and your own content market to post across your social media and your digital marketing channels. So we're coming to the end of our session. What I want to make sure that you have is my information. So we know that social media is 24/7, 365. As long as you have a full and complete presence online, people are able to find you, and that's what you want them to do. You want to be able to meet them where they're at, however they want to consume your information, even if it might be old school and they want to download a one sheet about, not only the models that you have, but all the features and benefits. That's a cool thing as well. So keep in mind of how your customers want to meet you, but you can put it in on social media and utilize the digital marketing channels to do that. All right. So I mentioned let tech do the heavy lifting. We talked about your connecting through a social media management platform like Hootsuite or Buffer. I wish they paid me to talk about them through the years because I'd be really wealthy. These are really good social media tools that you can connect your social media to. They have I think Buffer has a free version. And as long as you can start with 2 or 3 platforms, you're gonna do a majority of the work. Your geolocation or your local listings are going to be just as important. That's what that local listing audit will tell you. Your website audit, if you have a website up, it's going to tell you what's going to work and what's not going to work. It's going to tell you how fast your site is, and if people are going to click off of it because it's too slow, or you might be just doing everything perfect. So keep that in mind. When you look at your social media and online presence, just make sure that it's consistent and robust. And then overall, just last minute steps is any feedback that you get on the things that you have, whether it's from the website or local listings audit, whether it's from your customers or the questions your customers or prospects ask, incorporate that feedback into a feedback loop. It doesn't mean that there's anything that you're doing is wrong. We're just under a state of constant improvement. That's what business owners do all the time. You're on
Stand by. Done. Well, in the meantime, I put my email in the chat. If lay down. If anyone's interested in the presentation, please shoot me an email and I'm happy to send it out to you. And hopefully Dawn will be back to finish up.
Hey there, can I give a tip while we're waiting for her to come back?
Sure.
So I admin several large tiny house Facebook groups with over 50,000 people in them. And two things. So people are constantly asking about builders. And so if I'm trying to get information about a builder I don't know and they don't have a website, or they're not on LinkedIn, that's a clue that they're not very professional. Or if they have a website and they don't have pictures of their products and build photos, I agree with. I thought all of her advice was awesome. And just one tip that I see constantly, frequently people are asking about houses, they want to buy houses, and builders are saying, DM me for information. It's two things. One, you do that, you're losing out on all the people who could be seeing your answers instead of answering one person. And also, it is a very common ploy of scammers. And so a lot of Facebook admins have filters built in to catch people who are saying, DM me for information.
I've been catching people sharing pictures. I had a DIYer, and we'll get back to you 1 second, Dawn. I want to tell this. He was in North Carolina, and I always ask my builders for pictures because I love to promote them on my channels. So I shared his pictures. Like 3 days later, there was a guy with those same pictures trying to sell the house. Not really. He was a scammer in like Idaho. And oh man, I called him out, but I see it so much in the tiny house affordable. Oh, I can't remember the total name, but it's bad. So thank you, Susan. The scammers are just, when you see DM me, that you just know right away, pretty much. Anyway, go ahead, Dawn. We lost you for a second, but we're glad you're back. You're muted, Dawn. Did you freeze up again?
Let me go ahead and unmute. Let me know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay. So we look at stellar content. We're looking at kind of best practices. Think of in terms of ebook, checklist, things that people can download. That has your branding wrapped around it, by the way. So like the pictures that Susan had mentioned or Leanne had mentioned, where you can put a watermark or something, or your branding or a frame, those things will be very useful. And then the consistent emails, just like your consistent name, address, phone number we were talking about for your listings, your vanity URLs are going to be consistent. Make sure it's easy for people to interact with your site. If you don't have a funnel or a way that they progress through the customer so that you can qualify them, that's something that you might consider doing, so that are they just kind of looky-loos? Do they want information? Are they qualified to go further? Are they looking for financing? Is it something that you can partner with? Like all of those things, wherever they are in that customer journey for their customer experience. And think about how you can provide a rich response to them. And then anytime that they have to do more than 2 or 3 clicks, they're out. So when you're looking at how customers interact with you, make it as easy as possible. And if you think about the best customer experience that you have, or the ease of use for things like, I'm an Apple person. I used to be a Windows trainer, but I am an Apple addict now, just because I don't have to know how to use an iPhone. It's innate. I can figure it out just like I can with the Mac. If it's that easy, for some people, you want to have it that easy as a customer experience. And then for Facebook and or Meta and Instagram, they have a unified messaging inbox. So it doesn't matter how they DM you, you can get it in one place and manage it on your cell phone. So again, make sure that it's easy for them to communicate with you. I talked about the customer journey. This is more for you to just be aware of in the way that your customer tries to find you. We are looking right now on the social and email and awareness of your brand and information online. And if you notice that there's kind of a way that you go down the funnel. So we're at the kind of what we call top of the funnel, more inbound or organic marketing right now. You're going to do a lot of the other things when they go and start doing more research and more in-depth, looking for answers to their specific questions, especially if they're not ready to purchase right now, but they're ready within 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6 months to a year, 2 years from now. Then you know at what point the customer journey, what they're going to need to make a more informed decision. Again, building like and trust with you. However you do it, just make sure it's consistent. Make sure your listings are consistent. That's all that slide is supposed to tell you.
Mhm.
And to be quite honest with you, this is only supposed to be on your deck when you get it, not necessarily to overwhelm you, because I know there's a lot of information today. So I'm not going to go through this with you other than if you are interested in the way the customer buys, the decision they make, what strategy on social media, and what you can do to kind of gauge that moving forward.
All right.
All right. So when we look at, you can go down a rabbit hole and spend a lot of time in building out your social media content and building your profiles and having, posting and things like that. At the end of the day, you're going to have to figure out what is going to be measurable to your bottom line. So any marketing that you have, anything that you're outlaying capital, whether it's time or money, has to have a return on investment. It just doesn't make sense otherwise. So make sure that you have measurable goals at the end of a quarter, at the end of a year, of what you want. Just because you might have a goal of having 500 new likes or 5 fans on the page, on your Facebook page, that doesn't indicate any movement to your bottom line. So your KPIs, key performance indicators, or your goals for your business should align, or I should say your marketing should align with the goals for your business. All right. One of the things I notice about business owners in general, so I see this, and I see this for me as well. So I'm preaching to the choir and pointing a finger at me too, is sometimes we are not willing to move forward because we want it perfect before we start. And I will tell you that the way that you're going to innovate and do well, faster, better, is to fail forward and fail fast. So I'm not saying throw a lot of money at something that doesn't work, or throw a lot of money, period. I want you to be conscientious of the things that you do and focus, it's Pareto's principle, or that 80-20 rule. You do what works. The 20% of what you're doing is going to provide you 80% of the income. 20% of where you focus on social media is going to provide that 80% of your clients. So we want to identify what that is and blow that out, and then put the rest out for kind of that's nice or what's next. Okay. But don't be afraid to start and take action, even if it isn't perfect. All right. Now we come from questions. If you have any questions, either now or later on, you can always email me or set a time to kind of run through them and talk. Yes, Kim.
Hi, I'm in North Carolina, so we actually had a planning meeting today with zoning where they pitched the tiny home ordinance. So we're supposed to know next month if it actually passes. So pretty excited about that.
Awesome.
Optimization. Thank you. So with optimization, when I was on I can't remember the platform, but it had like a built-in like click here to optimize the website. I've no that's not on every platform. So how do you do that just organically? How do you make sure that everything's optimized?
Okay, so when we talk about, I think what you might be alluding to is your website versus other social media platforms. You can download something called Jetpack. I think there's a free version and a fee version of Jetpack, and that helps you optimize. It'll actually take you through, this is if you're a WordPress, so I should say that. If you have a WordPress website, Jetpack is an add-in or a plugin to that. And they will take you through and optimize some of the common things. And even in your pages, it'll kind of give you a green to red, a red to green, kind of, if you're golden, you're green. If you need help, you're in the red. But it will showcase kind of ways that you can do that on your own if you wanted to. Does that make sense?
It does. I had one more question. Goodness grief, I think I forgot it already. Oh, when you were talking about Google Business, so I was in the CBD hemp space originally for the last 4 or 5 years. But what I noticed now is that now that I'm in literally a shared space, so in a co-working space, it's like Google My Business will not authenticate the address, I guess, because, me and the Small Business Association, like there's, 10 organizations in that one building. How do I get around that?
Do you have a suite?
I do.
So it should be able to authenticate with the suite number. Another way, what I would take a look at it is I would look at the co-working spaces address and see how they're listed online first, and then see where you can delineate.
Okay.
That
Okay,
makes
I'll try that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dan?
Hi, thanks. So you said that it's important that we be consistent across all the social media and, including even like the specifics of your address. And one of the things I was noticing with the, tiny home industry is that there's not consistency across them in terms of how you list yourself as your industry. So like frequently tiny home is not even a category that you can select. So how important is that we try to be consistent, like saying like custom home builder or something along those lines across it all?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So for your Google or even LinkedIn company page, they won't have tiny home or tiny house builder. They may have it as a subcategory, possibly, not necessarily, because it's not like insurance or real estate. So you would have to do some residential construction, right? And I just mentioned that's a category and not the same thing as your consistency on your name, address, and phone number, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So is it Sirhi? I know that I noticed your hand's been up like the whole presentation. I just want to make sure I acknowledge that. And then
I think it's Sergey. Sergey?
Sergey?
Yes,
I have talked to you.
I don't think
Hi.
I don't think I put the hand.
Okay.
Oh, you,
All right.
okay.
Or maybe it was the pocket thing
Got it.
because I'm on the phone.
Gotcha.
Got
All right. Any more questions, anybody? You do have Dawn's email. That's dawn@virtualoptions.net.
Let me go down. Go ahead and go down if you would,
Okay.
Leanne.
Sure.
My info should be at one of those things. Oh, this is a bundle. Okay,
let me-
I'll quickly go over that. If you want the templates for this, let me know. There's no reason why you can't do everything yourself, but it is time intensive, and it's something that if you needed help with that, your marketing people can help you, I can help you, or you can absolutely do it yourself. So this is here for you, and it'll be part of the deck when you get it. I
Awesome.
should say that the link below that should be my information. I was thinking that was it. Okay,
There.
so yeah, either one doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Same thing. But the QR code goes to a Calendly link. It will book some time with me. If you want your website audit and a local listings audit, all you have to do is email me with your business information and your website, and I can pull that up. We can review it on a call, and then it's yours to do with what you wish. So this is like it works, to get you off and going. That's the goal and the intent of it. And if you ever need help, then you know where to find me. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Awesome. Just want to make sure there's no more questions. And
I have a question.
okay, Juan, you have a
Yeah,
question?
thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. What's your opinion on one-page websites, meaning just one page instead of 8?
Mhm.
So I'll give you pros and cons. So one page site is called a parallax design. It's all one single page. The issue is that you won't have the ability to do search engine optimization or SEO, or like blog posts that have keywords specific to different services or areas of your business, because you're competing with, let's say, design consult to tiny house building to, let's say you are selling frames to appointments. All of that, all those keywords are competing on the same page. There's nothing specific to it. So if you're looking for more directed website that has that brings you up higher in the search engines, I would recommend a multi-page site. However, if you wanted, because if you are a business that just got started, you just need something up until you get to the next iteration, and you just want your information, then one-page sites do really well. But I would have it as a right now, and then have something more concrete and robust as a what's next.
Second question, and that's the last one. Is there like any list of tiny home villages that is reliable? Because I have found, one here, one there, but there's not like a good directory of all the options that are out there, and it's limiting the ability of the manufacturers or the builders, because people need to put those homes somewhere, and in
Search
some
tiny house
places it's
villages.
difficult to find those communities. So
Search
any
house
source
villages.
that has that type of information, like a real directory of all the villages, in the country.
Leanne?
Yes, yes. We had her speak last year. Her name is Jill Cantos. The website is searchtinyhousevillages.com.
Great. So let me, I want to write it. Thank you. Can you repeat the name? I'm sorry. You want to
Sure,
put it
sure,
on the.
sure. Yes, I'll do that.
Thank you. Okay.
I was
Thank you.
about to offer that. That's what I'll do.
Great. Great. And also, third and last, for people not, sometimes every time you're approaching a let's say a city or a county, you have to start from scratch in terms of your presentation. Is there a pipeline of places that have approved tiny home villages with some specific arguments that they use that could build up our arguments and kind of tell the town that they have done it in such a place and such place, so it becomes less of a myth, the building of a community, because of the benefit that it brings. But it seems that we all have to start from scratch, and everybody's reinventing the same thing. There might be a way in by which we add all that knowledge somewhere, so that it becomes facts when we are presenting to a city, and that could
Right.
make everything easier, you know.
Yes, the problem is all the cities and counties are completely different. Some of them are all for tiny house villages because they know it will help the affordable housing crisis. Some are NIMBY, not in my backyard. So where are you located, Juan?
I'm in basically New York and Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida? There are,
Yeah, in New York.
what
Yeah, both
county? Okay, what
in
county?
Miami, Miami-Dade.
Miami. Okay. Because there
I
are some
was,
tiny house villages that have been approved in Florida.
yeah,
But yeah, I'll
I was
just
gonna say,
go ahead, Kim. I'm sorry. Were you
I'm so
saying?
sorry. There
That's okay.
is, there is some of that out there. I think you said one. I'm sorry, I forgot your name that fast. I know Microlife Institute, they have compiled some stuff.
Mhm.
I think it's tinyhome.org, I think.
Mhm.
They kind of like map different resources of what municipalities and whichever state has passed. So there is some of that. It just takes some legwork so that you actually find the legitimate resources that you're looking for. But it is there. It may not be very robust. What I found is in regards to the compilation of builders, a lot of people went under during the pandemic. So that's why some of that information is not up to date. But that's just from my particular research.
Yeah, it's just
Great,
like
thank
she said, a matter of research and stay persistent with that county or city. We had a speaker, Melanie Copeland, spoke for us last year, and I felt like she was a pit bull gnawing at the ankle of this official. And she finally got what she has her tiny house on land in Virginia. But are you in, did you get an email from us? Are you in our database? I have some
you.
info I can send.
Yes, I'll appreciate it. I am, yeah, it's juancastellanos@me.com. That's the email. I'm gonna put it on the
Okay.
chat. Yeah, and
Okay, great.
connecting with you guys is great. And again, thanks for the time.
Okay.
This is fantastic.
Also, just one last announcement. I want to let everybody know, we are gonna be starting a chat forum, not just for members. It'll be members and, people that are not members that might have tiny house questions. So we are in process. Jordan and I are working on that right now. Just different subjects, if you're a DIYer, which we do, have DIY members that appreciate the services we offer because I've been told that they felt like the inspector was basically holding their hand through the whole certification inspection process. But we will be starting a member chat forum. I mean, it's just a chat forum, not just members, but so look for that if you're signed up for email. If not, again, you can email me to get signed up. It's leanne@noaacertified.org. So with that, it's 8:30 and I'm going to let you guys go. I just want to say thank you so very much, Dawn. As always, you have been a wealth of information. I know you're busy, so I greatly appreciate you taking the time to spend with us tonight. So thank you. We'll see you guys if you inspector chat, Tiny Talks, October 17th. We'll be sending out emails on that. So hope everybody has a great night and a wonderful rest of the week. And call me if you have any questions. Thank you.